Greetings, community. It's Kevin of NCBD Comics, and I'm here to bring you a little bit of Spec news. It's been quite a while since I've done one of these shows. However, I didn't want to do one of these shows just for the sake of doing a show. I wanted to make sure that I was bringing you is quality content and something that was true to the idea and spirit of this particular show, which is specking on a book. So, speaking of which, there's a book coming out this new comic book day, Wednesday, the 14th. And in particular, it is something that I've been watching for quite a few months. Now, this paperwork that I have in my hand, I actually wrote a month ago. I just threw it out to the side. I didn't even decide to put it up for the final order cutoff. I figured someone would have done a show by now or really spoke about it. And pretty much most of the channels that I've seen, I've not heard anybody talk about, well, Nightclub. You may have noticed if you watch this channel that I've been putting that poster up probably maybe 2 months now. And in the past shows, I've tried to put that up every show. The poster sitting on my bed is an advertisement poster for Nightclub. And more than that, it was actually kind of a movie pitch. So this is theoretically the idea behind it is a franchise. And let me be a little more clear. Mark Millar I'm going to do my best reading right here and not make it look too yeesh. All right, and Nightclub is a story written by Mark Millar and is part of the Millar world. All right, so that Millar world division was sold to Netflix. So right out the bat, what that really means is this is optioned. And what I mean by that is, let me give you a little explanation of what I mean by that. If a particular individual signs a contract with a particular publishing group, and in the case of what I'm speaking now, a particular film group industry, when they do so, a lot of times they'll do it in a contract of locking in particular stories. So they get full rights up front for a particular duration of time, whatever's written in the contract. Now, this was a practice that was done way back in the early 1920s, all the way up until around 1950. And the idea, again, let me re-explain, was this. Let's say, hypothetically, you want to go ahead and do sci-fis. In the 1950s, sci-fis were really big. So what they were doing is they were getting people that were really proficient in writing sci-fi stories that were easily translated to movies. So they were locking down these writers for, let's say, back then, if I recall, you could lock down a writer for around $50,000 a year. Now, that was great for a writer because he was guaranteed money. It was great for a division because they were guaranteed a certain amount of stories. Not one, but let's say 3, 5, 6 films. And they didn't have to go shopping around. They didn't have to talk to agents. They didn't have to do any of that. That's kind of the idea and premise of what Boom Studios is trying to do. Back to what I'm speaking about. Nightclub is a comic book that's coming out and is a long-time project of Mark Millar where he was trying to franchise the story. The story being, here we go, 17-year-old kids are bitten by vampires, all right? So instead of going ahead and take on the stereotypical lifestyle of a vampiric being, what they decided to do is go ahead and throw on some masks and cloak up and become superheroes. They go ahead and defy what the vampires would normally do, and they want to go ahead and do some good. 17-year-old kids try to do the right thing, and they were bitten the wrong way and going through all this. So it offers a whole different, fresh look at a vampiric lifestyle. The cool thing is like I made mention before, Mark Millar's idea behind the story was to go ahead and franchise out. So when it got picked up by Netflix in 2017, meaning the Millar division, they automatically took possession because people like Mark Millar, people like Jason Aaron, they get locked into those contracts, as I was mentioned before. So they'll sign with a particular movie group, and they'll say, look, I'll give you 3 to 5 stories, and then you go ahead and give me my 50 to 60 million, and everyone's happy. And they'll do it for a duration of a couple of years. It wouldn't surprise me if Mark Millar's nightclub is one of those projects. The beauty about the story is, one, for those spec people that are into things, it's a $199 book. 2, according to the numbers I've been seeing, no one is really buying this book up. So if it does become picked up and it does become something that people decide to spec on hard, well, there's already a limited amount. I mean, it can go second print and all that, but it wouldn't surprise me. Second print might exceed the first if everything does well. And we'll see how that goes. That's it for me. Entropy. You stay well. Thank you for watching.